Sure to argue for quarters.
So this is the Gene Hack the Planet playtest #1 with the Shifter crew, bunch of freaks. Just kidding. So a little bit of background on the city, though, to give you scale wise. Uh, Mostly, what I have been focusing on is the Green Zone, or the Roots, is what it's called. It's a climate refugee pact district. If you're looking for touchstones visually, think of like Blade Runner, packed streets, except that it's not completely reigned by like Asian influence and Orientalism. It's packed full of tons of different cultures and therefore lots of different uh, people on the streets of all ethnicities and shops and signage, etc. So, but in thinking of terms of what it looks like, Blade Runner is very good because it is a retro future. Technology has progressed very much in ways that they can combat ecological disaster and climate change, but regressed in other ways. For instance, there's no internet. You would have to hack a satellite from the previous days to get that kind of information that you're going for, but there's no like Wi-Fi. There's no, you know, connections like that. If you think of Blade Runner, where it's advanced technologies, but they've definitely missed out on some of the cultural cues that we now know, like, I don't know, cell phones, things like that, right? So
I'll
you
have to
can still
rethink
go
that
to like a
obligation.
bar and there'll be like a telephone booth, except that it's like a visual thing with video and phone at the same time. So some things are like, ooh, pretty progressive. Other things is very regressive. And one of those things is that everybody has nanites in their bloodstream from drinking the water, and y'all are part of an underworld or fringe of the society because you've hacked them to go unnoticed and untraceable by the authorities for whatever reason you might have. Scale wise, each district is the size of a large city, and each district comprises Shelter 1 to make it a mega city, with 2 districts bordering the ocean, which, because of the radical shifts in landscape, because of ecological disaster, uh, ostensibly we know that they have access to icebergs, so we kind of know where it might be. But because of massive flooding and stuff like that, we don't know just how far uh, inland of North America they probably are, because all of these shifts and changes. And there is a very narrow strip that has a breadth of many different kinds of climate, from like Sahara deserts to winter to flooding to all these things outside of Shelter 1. So there's a pretty long track of land that would make up like a strip of North America south of Shelter 1. And Shelter 1 is the most northerly tip of the reach of humanity at this time. And they, as people in the city go anyway, you are unaware of is if there is other shelters or not. As far as you know, there's just Shelter 1. And the city is ruled by a corporate conglomerate, and there's the 3 pillars of corporations that make up a council. There's Nourish, which is like the gene hackers. Essentially, think of like Blade Runner 2049, the Wallace Corporation that were the ones to hack vegetables, plants, and stuff like that to make food growable and sustainable in this world now. Information literally controls all of the information. They send out things like reclaimers and sorcerers and stuff like that and scroungers to find information, and that they hoard it all for themselves. So they are sort of like the only people that could project like a Wi-Fi, except that they only make that information accessible to things like tracers, which are the Blade Runners of um, the setting, that are basically targeting climate refugees that contributed to climate change beforehand, um, while still working for the corporations that were probably the ones that contributed to climate change in the first hand. So it's very hypocritical and typical of cyberpunk. And the third corporation is safety, which is the people that protect you. And so they employ to some degree tracers Sentinels, which are basically, if you play blue Blades in the Dark, they're like the blue coats, just like the regular police force or whatever. And then there's the auditors, which are basically like in between. So it goes tracers, auditors, sentinels. Auditors are the people that kind of signal to the tracers that they should come get this person because they're infringing on various things. But y'all are going to be shifters anyway. So you're basically like, fuck this, and you're leaving the city anyway. But let's have everybody introduce themselves. And apologies to Aaron because you were describing your character before I realized that I should have given people setting details beforehand, which I didn't do because I knew I would have to say on stream anyway. So I've ruined everything. So, but
Okay.
Darren,
I have to rethink a few things, I think, anyway, so
okay.
have another pass.
Okay, so who does want to introduce their character? Sounds like Lauren.
I'll ramble about my weird character then. So I think this character, her name is Aoife. Good luck trying to pronounce that later based off the spelling. But her alias is Wolfie. And she comes from a forged community. And I pretty much think of it kind of like a Dogs in the Vineyard-esque community, except like they interpret weather and stuff and enforce like law in that capacity. She like pretty much it's like a community of quirks, but she's not a quirk. And she has absconded from her responsibilities interpreting weather and things like that and providing that kind of counsel to people. Having now joined Shelter One and being a climate refugee, realizing Shelter One is 6, kind of wants to get out of that now with this crew of shifters. I've given her kind of like a noble background, so I feel like she was kind of high up in that society, and her community back home was probably like feeling the gap that she left behind there, but she doesn't really give a shit. Her vice is luxury because I think she still like has a hankering for, maybe faith. I'll see how I feel when we get to doing vice, but it might be luxury, it might be faith. I'll see. And I think the one piece of home that she brought with her to Shelter One is like some kind of cybernetics in her eyes. Because I can't play a game without getting some Terry Pratchett in a game. And I think she can kind of see traces of like pressure systems, like hot and cold pressure systems and stuff. Like visually, they like come at her as color traces. So if there's like, oh, there's some like teal blue shit in the sky, like she knows there's like a low pressure system and some weather is coming and stuff. So she can like also visually interpret like what weather and stuff is happening in the area, I think. And then she's got some friends and stuff. She's friends with the spook, and she's not friends with the merc for hire who may potentially have been hired to take her back home, pretty much. So that's my character.
Who are you friends with again?
Javier the spook.
Ostensibly a spook.
Ostensibly a spook.
Yeah, it's important. Cool. And yeah, I think we have. I don't think I have any other questions then. Cool. I'll quickly recap too what a root is. So in this game, you can still have a heritage, but you assign yourself a root. Tipper, Grasshopper, Foundation, Wet, Forged, Unknown. And this is essentially just the slang that people in the Green Zone or the Roots tell each other in order to kind of express how they came to Shelter One. So a tipper is somebody, it's a pejorative and they don't really care where you came from because you're the person that contributed to the shitty climate change that they're in now. The corporate council works very hard to ostracize and basically make tippers look really shitty, so that the neighbor, to the point where like your neighbor would turn in a tipper to a tracer if given the chance. Grasshoppers came from land close by. Foundation are people that have been building up Shelter 1 since the beginning, so probably there for quite some time. Wet means that you came by water, usually from the east of the Shelter 1, because that's bordering the ocean, but it could be other ways as well. Forged means that you come from a community outside of Shelter 1, of which there are going to be numerous, but as yet, I'm still working on that. And unknown means that a few different things. Either you opt out of this sort of oppression, which can net you 1 XP, or as Christo has mentioned, you could also use it as just like something that you're withholding until you reveal it later, which is also totally cool. I like that as well. Especially because if you withhold it, that could definitely cause you issues and get you XP as well. So that is okay with me. And yeah, who wants to go next? Sounds like Alex. Oh, Christo, good.
Yeah, no, I'll go. So I'm going to play Bjorn, whose alias is Jet, and he is a quirk, which is an extrinsic. Oh man, that's going to be a hard one to say. Extrinsic scholar of acts of God. Say that 3 times fast, Fraser. Go for that. And that's from this play sheet. So yeah, that's great. And let's see. So what about him would you all want to know? So habits he has: he whistles. He has problems with names, where he's just never going to get anybody's name right. Just don't even hope for it. It's going to be close, but it's always going to be different every single time. And let's see. So his background is military. His route, as we said, was unknown, either because he's just keeping it secret or because he himself doesn't know. His cybernetic is his hair, in the sense that it's got a slight metallic sheen to it, and that's how he does his weather control. So that's where I took proprietary tech, so that he has the ability to somewhat control the weather. So we'll see how that plays.
Controls it with his hair, you said?
Yeah.
What? How does that work?
Well, why not? It's like a net. I'm thinking of it sort of like it's sort of not a network per se, but it is. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like his hair, right?
Yeah, his hair.
His hair is a network.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, why not? I mean, come on, we're being fantasy. So I'm just saying, it is some sort like an antenna. It is a means of transmission or reception. So that's how we can interact with it. But that's sort of what has messed him up. So
it's all over. You don't say. Just like spraying chemicals on your hair. Nice.
No, he doesn't do that. He's. And it sort of moves strangely. So I think it will often move to a wind that's not quite there. So he's always got that dramatic windblown look.
That's good.
Oh, come on, I want something different. Run with it.
Yeah, it's cybernetic hair.
Let's see. I don't know else what you would all want to know. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's the basic.
You said you were forged, right, from somewhere else. Did you have anything in mind with that, or just in general?
Actually, I flipped it back to unknown. I think I will run with that. We'll say that either he doesn't know or he just doesn't talk about his past.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
And in military background, so that's also, I think, sort of explains some of it.
Nice. Anybody watching, everybody in chat is giving me shit about wondering what is going on with hair, as if somebody's like, I can control the weather with my hair is perfectly normal and you shouldn't ask questions about it. Okay, I understand.
This is fiction, Fraser, right?
Yeah, it's cyberpunk climate fiction.
There you go.
Yes.
So if he's having a bad hair day, you better run.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering, like, about it. I wasn't like, this is stupid. I was like, how does that work, right?
Oh, you were. This is stupid. Okay. We'll run with it. We'll see how
Anyway,
it goes.
Alex, did you want to introduce your character?
Nice segue, Fraser. Like, no one noticed, I'm sure. Just give me a second to stop laughing. Whew, okay. Just one more. Alrighty, so I am playing I Say the Talk, also known as Filter. I Say came from a forged background, lived in a small community that was like fixed in place in a somewhat safe area outside of the shelter. Mainly got by, you know, salvaging old tech and salvaging new tech that she really shouldn't have been salvaging, but, you know, there, right? She's always dressed in like really loose rags, just, you know, whatever she could grab, and just like wraps it around herself. It looks kind of like a mummy, but, you know, who knows what those are these days. She has cybernetic fingertips with like different sensors in them that will tell her about things, like whether something has electric current in it via like magnetics and stuff like that. So like
Cool,
very touchy-feely with things she's interested in.
That's the cybernetics.
Yeah.
Cool. And is it visible?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So what does the fingertips look like? Like carbon fiber or something?
Yeah, I figured like they're all just like different shades of metal, essentially.
Ooh. Cool.
You have all
Sounds
the
good.
different sensors in them. You just work with whatever you got. She has.
Sorry, in the chat, Lauren says you're all going to stress out and die with cybernetics. I made it so that cybernetics at character creation doesn't cost you stress. Just later on the game, you can get cybernetics at the cost of stress and jewels, which is the money in this setting. And yeah, before it was that at character creation, it would cost you stress, the one stress to get cybernetics. I've changed that just so it's like reinforcing that you're not like handicapped basically by the cybernetics and you'd have to recuperate your stress from it. It seemed like a little bit more non-ableist to start it this way instead. But yeah, continue.
Friends. She's friends with Shira, a chop shop owner, Shakara, and has had some not too very good run-ins with Pihu, a bartender. I think that's about it.
You've had run-ins with the bartender?
Well, I mean, there may have been an issue with the tab building up.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Bartender just randomly walked up to me and was pissed off one day. He wasn't like my secret rival since birth or anything, but okay, and who was your friend again?
Shira, a chop shop owner.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense since you're shifters. Cool. And you say which special ability you took?
Oh, I took Saboteur. It's like, who really needs the insides of all of these electronics?
Right. Yeah, sure. When you wreck stuff, you're real quiet. Cool. And Darren, last but not least.
Okay, so I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit the same. This is AFAB, and I'm going to keep the trade background, but I was thinking maybe he's like involved, his family is involved with the Reclaimers somehow. To get that idea of like convoys going out, but also to give him like really interesting connections with like the intelligence that they're and the knowledge that they're hoarding. His heritage is Foundation, so I think he's always been in the shelter, or he was born there or whatever. And let's see, I went with his friends and his rival. His friend is Noah, who I think assistant to an exec is maybe like a family assistant, like to his father, the executive, or something. But like they're friends. Maybe they're boyfriends. I like
Cool.
that story.
So
And then,
like you're out there doing the shifter work and stuff, and they're feeding you information on the fam.
yeah, that's really
Nice. I like it. I
good.
like
And
it.
then, and Elsa, the information broker, is his rival. She's probably involved with other groups who are trying to like take down the reclaimers. So she probably always has dirt on me, I would imagine.
She sounds hateful.
She's lovely, but you know.
Yeah.
And
She's
then-
really nice, except when she isn't.
Yeah, Aetha probably has nothing nice to say about her at any like ever, but everyone else is very complimentary. They're like, she poured me tea, and Aetha was like, it's not the point. The tea is very good though. And then I'm just going with well connected for the ability because I thought that matched well to start with.
Cool. You already said the starting ability, you said? What?
Yes, the well connected.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
cool.
one.
Oh yeah.
And I don't and then I don't know if I don't know. I can't think of a cybernetic form, so
Okay.
I don't know if he has one. Maybe he's just all natural.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sounds good. Cool. And then so let's do the let's try to get through crew creation as fast as we can. And let's see. So y'all gonna be shifters, which are people with a convoy who chase storms, maybe. It's up to you. If you look at your shifter handout, nomads following acts of God, and you have the starting ability data cutting. Due to hard won experience, you have devised a method to extract data from an act of God. Take 3 steps to use this specialized method after you have surmounted it as an obstacle. So you can still do other scores and all that kind of stuff. Acts of God in this game kind of hit semi-randomly, like they're clocks that I take care of. Of course, if you're chasing them to go to them, they'll happen more often. But otherwise, they're like a clock that counts down and then they hit you. And you can either do them as a specialized job in order to extract the data, which would be a specific score in which you would collect the whatever data that you want and probably convert it into jewels, which is the money, or whatever kind of fictional stuff we have going with the data. If you're selling the data as like smuggling and stuff like that, that could be a thing as well. But on the onset, that's what it is. But you could change out that starting special move where you extract data from an act of God for any of the other crew ones. This is just like the most logical one for your crew. But if you wanted to take the cleaners one, for instance, military grade, due to hard won experience, you have developed a method to destroy acts of God. You could easily swap that out and then change your relationship to acts of God.
I want to find out what kind of data are in these storms.
Yeah, makes sense. That's why I put it there, right? But yeah, well, and if you, it's kind of hitting on the twister trope of it, right? Where you like put all those sensors into the twisters or whatever, and it collects all this data. So it could be that you're aiming for the fictional positioning of like helping scientists understand acts of God and trying to predict them, or it could just be like something even more interesting, like, well, I don't want to judge or anything, but it could be like it could be something like like Kyle had suggested when he was going to run it, that if he had a crew of shifters, that they would be chasing tornadoes because that's like where the remnants of the internet was, and so you'd be like hacking data from it to try to get information from the old world and stuff like that, and possibly uncover secrets about the corporations, etc. But yeah, you could just be humanitarians, right? Or simply obsessed with scientific stuff to try to get that data, right? Get that sweet data. Get those zeros and ones hard, right? But yeah, so do you guys want data cutting as your starting move? Yeah. At least for now. I'm sure if it's something that you end up wanting to change later, we could swap it out. Let's see. So you selected shifters. And so we'll do initial reputation and layer. So what is your initial reputation as a crew? We'll say that like well, it depends, I guess, how long you guys think that you have been working together, because we could also do it where like you have just started. Like maybe the reason why you're broke is because one of you sunk all of you sunk all of your money into this convoy and this job, right? But you still have a reputation, and that's the thing that you work towards and can get XP for in the game. When people hear of your exploits and what you've done, you get XP for it, and you can always work towards a different reputation as well. But at the onset, there's ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, strange, or something else. Like if you want to make a new one, you can do that as well.
Is this listed somewhere I'm not seeing?
No, it's on page 93 of the actual Blades book is where I'm reading it from.
Okay. So
Yeah.
can you read them again?
Sure. It's ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, strange. But you can also make whatever one else that you want to work towards.
I don't think we should be savvy or professional.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
Okay.
So, are you subtle?
No.
Are you strange?
I like ambitious.
I also kind of like ambitious.
Yeah, because that can be daring also, right? That can each of us can play into that our own way. I like that.
Yeah. Ambitious? Cool.
Yeah.
So just track that on your crew sheet. There's a spot for a reputation.
So who's doing that?
Who is doing that? Darren is.
Yep, I
Cool.
am. I've filled out a lot of that sheet already. I'll take care of it.
Nice. Normally, yeah. Normally, there's a layer that you choose from, but instead of layer, you have your convoy, right? Your hunting grounds is the type of work that you want to angle for, and it's at the bottom of the shifter sheet there. Acquisition, discovery, reconnaissance, or something else that you want to select. Those are just options. Any one of those good?
They're all good.
Yeah, this is your main
Acquisition.
thing. So the mechanical benefit that you get from this is when you are doing a discovery action for a score or something labeled adjacent to it, stuff like that, you get an additional downtime action to be doing something like that. So it's pretty good.
What if instead of just getting data out of acts of God, we're trying to capture acts of God? How far can I push this?
Sure.
What, a genie in a bottle? Is that what I'm hearing?
I just picture Atheb with like a with like a Ghostbuster thing chasing like a little dust devil and be like, "Come here, little buddy."
You guys, I caught an act of God.
Yeah.
With a pile of dust in a box.
There's data in it and there's energy in it, right? So maybe it's a
Oh,
viable
that's
energy
interesting.
source. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other things is actually converting it into fuel. And then, as Lauren knows, there's one that converts it into drugs that you can sell as well. That's what the other.
What? We can sell them as drugs? Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Well, they take the raw materials and then they make a drug out of it, right?
I like that.
And you think cybernetic hair is strange?
I mean, there's lots of different stuff in Acts of God because they're so varied, right? It's all just chemical components, and you're just like,
that's true.
How about we snort some of that shit in there, right?
I'm really stifling our creativity by only picturing tornadoes. I'm very sorry about that.
If Cyberpunk has taught me anything, it's that we can make a drug out of literally anything. Okay.
I like acquisition or discovery. Those are my votes.
So you want to actually capture them, or
Yes.
sure?
Whether that's realistic or not, I think
It's
AFAB is
ambitious,
gonna.
that's for sure.
Well, there we go. That's
Yeah, so it
cool.
fits. Why not?
Sure, we can just tweak that
Was-
starting move to, instead of like extract data, it's capture.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that, right? Like, it's just options to
Well, it doesn't-
determine your relationship with acts of God.
we don't have to change our special ability in order to capture it, do we? Or is there just no other way we could capture it?
Like you're saying, extracting data is capturing it. I'd be fine with that if that's what you're saying.
Sure, why
wanna
not?
be
I mean,
clear.
if we can turn people to if we can turn people to water and get their data and their memories from that, why can't we?
Yeah, sure. There must be like a tenor in my voice where I'm not trying to say that what you're saying is stupid or anything. I'm just asking for clarification.
Let them capture tornadoes.
Yeah. Like, I'm just asking questions. All right.
Lauren has
Extracting
very
data
good.
also is acquisition. That's fine with me.
Lauren has very good suggestions in chat.
What?
We
Weather
need
zoo.
to open a weather zoo so we can let the tornadoes roam.
Have you ever have you all read Night Watch or Day
No.
Watch? So they have this thing. So it's magic there, but one of the things they can do is they can capture moments. So they'll capture like a moment of a rainstorm on a beach, and it's a specific beach, and so you've got the smell of it and all that. So we could be capturing the weather for utilization later to counter other weather, for instance, or something like that.
Sure, that sounds cool. That
That's
sounds
some
very cool.
storm bullshit. I love it.
Yeah.
I watched that movie on a plane. It was not. I can't recommend it.
Nice. Okay, so you've got your hunting grounds. Take 2 jewels, which jewels are varying in size and are charged by human labor. So think of like the wind-up girl technology, where very large ones would look like huge engines or something that would power buildings. Very small ones would be something that you would click into a weapon to charge it in order to shoot. And it has varying different things. Like it would be as small as a watch battery to as big as those huge ones that power buildings, right? And so we abstract jewels as your payment for these things. And so in the fiction, they can be as big as small or whatever as you need. And in that way, we know that forged territories and shelters equally would require these jewels to run. Also, this way, when you're burglars, I can say that you're running the jewels. So it's very good. And it's spelled, of course, Joules.
I saw that tweet. I was like, what is he thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you liked me, because it needs to be. I need to positive reinforcement in my life. So
I don't like anything I don't understand. So if I see it, I'll go back and like it.
I'm going to say this without being cynical. So Fraser needs positive reinforcement, right? He doesn't like punk. He doesn't like cyber hair, but no,
I like it just fine. I like it. I like it. I'm just asking questions and setting stakes and things. Let's see. Okay, the entire city is divided among larger, stronger factions. The GM will tell you which faction claims the area. And, oh yeah, so where you are located in the convoy now, or we could also go with you having taken these. Like there's a faction that is angered by your current position that you can either buy off or tell them to screw off, basically. And
screw off.
Well, why don't we find out what faction it is first? So, Darren, did you want your character to be linked to the Porters? Because that would be a natural thing, right? Like if you're the heir to the Porter faction and you're just like gonna go chase some stuff, they might be like, dislike, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so they're tier 3. and they're PORTERS. You can add that to the crew sheet. And their hold is actually weak.
Wait, where do I put this?
In the crew sheet. Let me see. Let me open it here. You're in crew mode. Let's see. So, just in factions.
Oh, in the faction mode?
Yeah, you gotta toggle it.
Got it. They're an
Yeah.
institution.
They're labor and trade.
Okay, that was my second guess.
Yeah. And they're
Perfect.
tier 3 weak hold, and you have if you told them to screw off, then it's -1 status with that faction. Otherwise, you can pay them off, give them 1 coin in exchange for giving you a room to work, so they just like whatever. Or you can pay them 2 jewels as a show of respect and gain +1 status with them. Or you can be like, fuck off. And that would be all your jewels, all your monies, all gone.
I like the idea that Athab was like, hey, I'm taking a gap year. See you guys. And he did not give them any money.
So nobody even knows this except you, right? Or did you tell people like slight problem?
I think if we said screw you guys, Athab was probably like, well, about that. But if we paid them off, then I think that would be part of like, yeah, I think either way, yeah, I would have told them. Oh.
So just so you know, for the hunting grounds mechanical benefits, when you prepare to execute an operation of your preferred type on your hunting grounds, you get +1D to any gather information rolls and a free additional downtime. So when you do the acquisition stuff, you get that, which is pretty good. Choose a special ability for your crew. In addition to the data cutting one. That's just a free one. Notice there's no like dot next to that one. It's because you just get it.
What did we choose for rep? I don't want to write anything down, just to not assume. Do we want to do -1?
Oh yeah, did you guys do -1? It sounds like that would be.
Yeah.
You mean paying them? Is you saying paying them off or what?
So your opportunities are pay them off, give them all of the jewels that you have to pay them off, so they don't care about the young heir leaving. Or you can tell them to screw off, and that gives you -1 status faction. Paying them gives them +1. And I believe... Oh yeah, so either pay them 1 jewel to have neutral faction status, 2 jewels to have +1 status with them, or just tell them no, nothing, -1 status faction. And -1 is just like you're unfriendly. They're not going to go out of your way to be like, I'm going to get you or anything, but if you ask for help, we'll be like, no, right?
Fight the power.
Fight the power.
Yeah, you're rebelling against your parents, right? And you need to...
Let's do -1.
Yeah, nobody rebels against their parents and then pays them off, right?
Yeah, I was thinking either I could be like this rebel kid or I could be coddled. And like the only reason they like me is because they just don't want me to die.
Well, whatever you want.
No, I like fight the power.
Sure. I mean, you've hacked your nanites, you might as well just peace out, right?
Yeah.
Got your tattoo. Yeah, so what special ability are people interested in? Chosen will give you an extra attribute in, oh, I didn't change it, but it would be hack, study, or sway, which is pretty good. Well, all of those are pretty good. But yeah. Resilient gives you +1D resistant rolls against acts of God. You get +1D to healing rolls when you have suffered harm from one. Subvocal tech is, I think, the one that you were interested in, Christo, right? You can use teamwork with any member of the convoy, regardless of distance separating you. By taking 1 stress, your voice can always be communicated to the crew, which would be helpful.
It might be helpful if this is really noisy weather, right?
Yeah, well, if you're in proximity to each other, you could just help each other anyway.
Okay.
But
Well, and in this game, how often do you split the party? I mean, Blaze is a rule you don't, do you?
not usually, but sometimes you'll have a linked plan where like somebody needs to do something to get the other thing to be completed, or maybe you're attacking a storm from different ends, right?
I don't know. What sounds more fun? That doesn't sound particularly fun. It's useful, but let's do fun.
Okay. Stormtroop, each PC gets an additional Vice Daredevil when you indulge this voice, and go thrill seeking. You don't overindulge when you clear excess stress.
That means everybody's going to ride the tornado with me.
Well, if
We
you
get
go
to-
through, yeah.
We get to find our own little mini tornadoes.
Mhm.
A family of tornadoes.
I think resilient would also be good. Really let us run up on that tornado.
Yeah. Riding shotgun, you have someone now casting, which means that they're basically hooked up to your like, think of a science convoy vehicle where they're like reading the weather, checking all the maps and stuff like that, and guiding you to what you're supposed to be doing. And that's specifically what they're doing, one of your gang members or one of you. And when you have that happening, you can always ask a follow-up question for gather information and take +1d to an engagement roll when you act on it, because you're better prepared. Lay of the land, when you're not in motion, the entire convoy is partially camouflaged, which is pretty good, especially if you're wanting to be one of those people that would commute into Shelter 1 to sell your wares or whatever. And roaming family is nice too. When you stop and slow down long enough to lay roots and have a shared moment of intimacy with the convoy, you may roll to decrease stress as though you were indulging a vice, which is nice. That's just nice. Yeah.
I like all of them.
Question on Stormtroop: does it accidentally have riding shotgun in it also?
Oh, in
In
Roll20.
In the description in Roll20, yeah.
Yeah, I think I messed that up.
Okay.
We'll delete that fast.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah. So what do you guys want?
The advice that comes out of Friends at the Table is that you should increase your engagement rolls at the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so riding shotgun might be wise. But I like all of them. I really don't have like a preference.
I mean, we want to be hardcore, right? So I feel like resilient could be pretty fun.
Yeah, why don't we do that? I like that one.
Sure. Yeah, so you can resist consequences of acts of God. Cool. So just copy and paste that baby in there. And you also have 2 crew upgrades to place. Right now you have 1 in convoy. If you can spend 2 to increase the convoy and have armored, which is good, especially if you're riding into storms. Or you could spend it on training, or spend 2 to do cohorts, which is like you could have better peeps going on, because you could have an elite troop instead of just regular troops, which would be tier +1 instead of 0, which is what you are at now. But also, I know Darren wants some quarters.
Isn't the convoy our quarters? Or
but this puts beds in our convoys.
Yeah, so you would basically, the thing is that you were like ostensibly somewhat safe, and you're not like, think of it if it was like D&D or sleeping outside, and there could be engagement rolls, right? Versus like you're sleeping in it's much safer.
what do implements, supplies, tools, weapons, and gear get us?
Those are all things that you already have access to in your item list, but when you put your quality towards it, you have fine gear for it, so it's tier +1. You're better at that stuff.
Ooh. I kind of like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
But no, let's say, okay, if Darren wants a soft, cushy bed, let's go for a soft, cushy bed. Got to keep the nobleman happy.
Sure.
Well, I just,
Yeah, I think it's a good move.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You got to be comfortable. Get you good sleep. We can do a lot more with that. We'll get a lot farther. A lot more chasing.
We
Well,
can-
you could do hidden as well, so then it's like harder for people to find you, especially because you know that people are coming for you, except that only one of you knows that. Well, not coming for you. They're only -1, so I can't. But yeah.
We don't
I
have
think-
we don't have a tagger among us that will have like done up our convoy in bright colors.
The quality, like a quality improvement, might be good because that increases our like a tier effect, right? When it's like a fine quality.
Yeah. So if you are fighting acts of God, you'll be using specialized tech essentially. So that's a good thing to get a tier up in usually, because the way it works is if you look at the act of God planning and load, you tell me what specialized tech you're using to take on the acts of God, and then you would already have better equipment at it.
So is that instead of gear, is the idea we change gear for tech, or because quality doesn't have tech under it?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it would be like-
specialized tech.
Oh, I didn't. That's the default sheet.
Oh yeah, like in my
Instead of
sheet, right?
implement.
Not on Roll20. Roll20 is the vanilla blades, right? Not us.
I flipped it over though. It's instead of implements, it's specialized tech.
Oh, you changed it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. There you go. Look at that.
I'm thinking the whole thing.
Nice. So it depends if you want that. That would be wise, but also it just depends. Like you could just be people that continually are hunting acts of God, but ostensibly you'll want to be interacting with other things as well in the fiction.
Good point. It would be more ambitious to go after acts of God without good tech also.
That's true, I guess.
No. Can we... Yeah, I don't know. Can we take these specialized crew upgrades? Or like the specific crew sheet upgrades?
Yeah. So here, let's see.
Because maybe...
You have 2 additional upgrades to your crew. Total of 4 upgrades when you start. Yeah, so you can choose from the specific upgrades available to your crew type or your general upgrades on the crew sheet.
Okay.
Yeah. When you assign your 2 upgrades, I'll tell you about what factions you pissed off.
Well, maybe upgrading our troop might be good then too, because that might be a good like overall like. Good...
That would take up 2 of them though. Upgrading cohorts is 2.
Oh, never mind.
Just one thing that you can do.
Never mind.
Can cohorts be like our fans?
No. What do you mean? Well, I mean, if you want to recruit fans that follow you or something, sure. I don't know. But there's cohorts are like codified in the game as specific things that help you out.
They're
like thugs or troops. Like a troop is they're into this life of act of God people. We could maybe make an extra type of cohort that's just useless fans or something if you really want that.
There goes Fraser not judging again. Okay.
Well, what would be the purpose of the fans?
I don't know. Information, social cred, whatever.
Sure, we can make a new type of cohort. Generally, they're like,
we don't have to.
Yeah.
So I'm for special tech because I think that'll be really cool as a storm chaser.
Yeah.
You said we get 4 upgrades, so each of us can pick an upgrade, right?
No, so you start with 2. You already have resolve and convoy, and then you pick 2 more to have 4 in total.
What does everybody think? Does special tech sound good, or do you want to have weapons to defend ourselves?
I wonder, because this is it. I guess it pigeonholes us a lot. I mean, kind of.
I'm down for the tick.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have very good documents, the high quality paper.
Hey, it might be high quality data, right? Isn't that what it could also be? We just might have like the best Wikipedia or the last version of Wikipedia or something.
Yeah. But the
We
best-
found the last iPad.
Is it Encarta that came before Wikipedia?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Squid's got like lots of archives of Encarta.
It's like a terrible like a hypertext like web page app. Like the hyperlinks are off by like 10 pixels.
I think we've turned into a low-budget film.
So you're choosing specialized tech and quarters?
Mhm.
I
Places
hope
to sleep?
so.
I hope so. Is that true, Lauren? Alex? Are you okay with a place to sleep and specialized tech?
Hey, if
Yeah.
it's got quarters, that means it's got showers, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Or whatever the equivalent, whatever the equivalent is. If this is a water scarce area, then I guess it would be like a dust bath or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you
Or a
could
sonic
say
bath.
how you want to get clean. Okay, so one of these factions, you get they like you and you get +1 status with them, and the other one don't like you. They you get -2. So I'm guessing the specialized tech, maybe you jack that from another crew. That would make the most sense to me. And maybe let's see, who would that be? Do you think that you would have stolen the specialized tech from Sentinels? Like the police? Do you think that you might have taken it from there's a group of called flickers that are basically private eyes. There's cryptographers who are basically like people that program all the software, hardware, and protective devices locks and stuff like that. There's the split peas that are basically gene hack engineers who are like rebellious farmers who left and became a part of the underground. There's the mirrored who obviously, well, not obviously, but they always wear mirrors and are sort of like just a new kind of gang that try to work by proxy from other people. So you could have stolen it from them. Optionally, I could say that you stole it from the porters so that you have -2 status with them. That might be fun. Oh, wait. If you do that, you might go to war with them, though, because it gives you -2 with them unless you give them some jewels. You could pay them 1 jewel, and then you would be okay with it. But
What are those split peas again? Is that the one to proxy?
yeah, the split peas are people that have created a consortium of gene hack engineers and farmers who joined an underground black market after basically like renegading against Nourish. They used to work for them, and they rebelled and started their own thing and are now competing with the company with pricing. What? You muted yourself. What'd you say,
I
Dave?
was too fast on that button. I just said that's a good name.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really like them too. There's Carry On, hired mercenaries that have worked their way up the chain to become almost as powerful as corporate entities. They're tier 4, and you might have pissed them off by stealing some of their weaponry and piecing out of Shelter 1.
Is that carry on, as in carry on
Carrion.
baggage, or carrion as in the
bird.
dead things that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Carrion. Yeah. Carry on. So what do people think? Do you want to steal it from the police, PIs, cryptographers? There's a faction outside of Shelter 1 called the Rust, which are people that essentially they're like if you think of porters as the labor people, they're the organization that train and make the heavy lift ships to harpoon the icebergs, and are sort of like the granddaddy of the porters, essentially. So it'd be like the family above the porters or whatever, but except it's like an institution.
What were the name of the mercenaries? That's sort of a cool one.
The
like-
mercenaries are carrion.
The carrion. I'm thinking that's sort of cool that if we stole the tech from them, because while I like the idea of stealing from the police, I think that'll make it very hard for us to get into the city every single time.
Yeah, but yeah, sure. That seems legit.
Fight the police, Christo. Fight the police.
You want the police? Okay, I'm game. We can go with that. If everybody wants that, if that'll be more fun, then let's go with the police. Let's go with the Sentinels.
I love a messy exit.
Okay.
Okay, so your choice is to take -2 status with them, or spend a jewel to mollify them and take -1 status with them. So either -1 or -2, and you only have 2 jewels, right? So
I do like being at -2 with the police.
Okay. We'll start off with a bang. Let's do -2 with the police.
Okay, sure.
Wow, cool.
And then
All or nothing.
What gang out here helps you out? Maybe I kind of like in the fiction that it is the rust, like the people above the porters are sort of like your grandparents are like, yeah.
Well, I was thinking maybe the cryptos or the PIs, because if we're going to get in trouble with the police, who would be the ones that would be able to like help us sneak into the city? Would it be the cryptos or the PIs?
Okay, well, in it, you're choosing a faction that helped you get the upgrade, so the quarters.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like the grandparents giving us beds to sleep in. Thanks, Grandma.
What?
Alex, yeah, chase those tornadoes, grandson.
So this was like a graduation present. Is that what this was?
Yeah. If you want that, they're burns and trap, and they're tier 5, so it would be some heavy weight behind you. They're 2 tiers above the porters.
Let's go for it.
And they live. They're master boat craft people that adapted heavy lift boats to porting vessels. It's the only reasonable way that they make money on the island. They supply Shelter 1 with porters, and the name of the island is called the Rust or Red Rock because it is literally red and people are simple. So, and it's an island a little bit a ways, like northeast of Shelter 1. So the porter gang themselves, or crew or tier, they are just the people. It like abstracts the porters that are living in Shelter 1 as the commuters. So you can picture them as kind of transient people, right? They come, they bring the iceberg to the basin, they hang around town for a little bit, they go back to this island, and the cycle continues. They send out workers and it continues like that. But they have an abstracted pull in the city because they're doing like work for the city, and they have a pretty high tier because people need to drink, and it's the primary access to water. So there's 2 different levels. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can we pay our grandparents money for the good bets they gave us?
Yeah, so the way it works is they like you and you get +1 status with them. At your option, spend 1 jewel to repay their kindness and take +2 status with them instead. So if you paid them for it, then they like you even more. You're a good grandson.
Do we want our grandparents to love us even more?
I kind of dig it just because it's like when like your parents like, oh, do you want this TV? And you're like, yeah, sure. They're like, oh, cool. We can just give you like $200 for it, and like, which is a bargain, really.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense because they're a family of like master boat craftsmen or craft people, right? So like it makes sense that they would be the ones that could retrofit all your vehicles and stuff like that to have better capabilities and quarters and stuff like that, because that's like what they do, right? And then you actually paid them for it, maybe.
I feel like we gotta pay somebody at some point.
Yeah. Well, it might be good to have a really good friend. Who's your parents? Grandparents?
That's so true, Lauren. I'm sorry, my character is such a brat.
So do you want to give them +1 jewel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
He already put +2. He already put 2 in the character sheet. So that's
okay.
what that.
And then choose a favorite contact. Take a look at your list of potential contacts on the crew sheet. Choose one to contact who is a close friend, long-term ally, or partner in crime. The GM will tell you about the 2 factions that are impacted by your choice.
For some reason, I feel like it needs to be Alba and Astronomer because it just seems so useless, but whatever.
No, I love it. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Because then we can figure out what the use is. That's why I think it just looks so useless. Let's try it and see what we can make of it.
But also, is Samu the rancher? Man, we could pet cows.
I think they still have cows.
Maybe they have a tornado zoo.
Retrograde future cyber cows. Duh.
Yeah, and Kyle's Biopunk SK game, they were tigers, but they'd been modified so the like stripes were all parallel because that was like more that was more beautiful and perfect than the natural stripes.
Right.
Nice.
So what do you guys think? What contact?
I like Alba. That's good.
Yeah. And which one is that? That's the
Astronomer.
Astronomer. Okay. Cool. So I have to choose. It says this isn't me. This is the rules. One faction is also friendly with his contact, and you get +1 status with them. One faction is unfriendly with this contact, and you get -1 status with them. I kind of like the idea of, well, it's up to you, but I kind of like the idea of your grandparents really liking you and this contact, and they have this guy, like this astronomer, sometimes put his telescope on you to keep an eye on you and stuff and keep you safe.
That's so sweet.
Okay, I'm game for
Yeah.
that. If
So
that's what
plus-
astronomy is.
Well, obviously the guy's not going to do that all the time, right? He's not just like, wonder what these kids are up to all the time, right? And then the unfriendly thing. I'm thinking it could be a place called the Blue, which is named Cresting Grace, which is where the tea masters are trained and dwell. Rumors of a secret underground spring that serves their needs of the town go unsubstantiated. I wonder if you pissed them off.
We pissed them off, or Alba pissed them off?
Yeah, Alba did. Unfriendly with this contact in particular. Who would be mad at an astronomer? That's the question.
Well, I mean, I guess you could think that maybe the astronomers
Ooh.
predict solar storms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how about, so there's a faction called the Red Leaves, which leaves as in like leaving instead of like leaf, it's leaves. A group of thieves and antiquarians who operate a pawn shop as a front in order to unravel more lost knowledge, looking for a patron to lend more resources to their cause. Maybe they were hoping to get him as a patron and he spurned them. And so now they're a little bit pissed off because I bet an astronomer would be something that they would be interested in, perhaps buying information that he sells. Or what were you thinking, Krista?
I don't know. I was thinking that somebody was mad at Alba because he was supposed to predict solar storms and he didn't do a good job of it, and it mucked up their business somehow. So I don't know what faction that would be.
Who's
Oh,
too busy watching us?
okay. Yeah, take a -1 with Croci Stigma, which is CROCI Stigma, which is also the name of Saffron. But I won't tell you why. It's a secret.
Okay.
But they don't like him, and it'll be good. It will create the drama.
Yeah.
And let's see. So you start at tier 0, weak hold. You can mark that. You have 1 jewel left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no rep. And what one like tier 0 is 1 to 3 people in your crew. And they are a troop, which means that they are good at doing stuff with the convoy, like finding storms, repairing the convoy, and stuff like that. So why don't we break for 5 minutes, come back, and then go into the fiction? Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Okay. Seems like this will be very different tone, hey, Lauren, than the other one.
Oh, totally.
This will be more like Indiana Jones, whereas the other one, I'm like, you killed them. You killed them all. They're bleeding on the streets. The streets runs red with blood.
Yeah.
Log into.
Yeah. So maybe it's a good time for a tone conversation. What I'm getting from all of the responses so far is that we're probably leaning towards like a little bit lighthearted gonzo-ish. So the dial for this from a GM standpoint is usually how I gauge what resistance rolls are going to be like. I can make it really gritty in that like you suffer harm and it's like basically like you're going to die basically unless you resist this stuff versus like you resist it and it's Indiana Jones, you're out of trouble completely, and we go to that kind of thing. But like we'll obviously hone it more in play, but what I've been getting so far is that we're kind of going like a little bit more like fun adventure, fantasy cyberpunkish stuff going on, right? Is that correct? Are people wanting a more gritty game, or
Come on, Darren, spit it out.
Cyberpunk Twister or what?
I really like. I just like. I like severe consequences for like very outrageous actions.
So are we gonna have severe consequences with humor? Is it gonna be like stupid? Is that what it is? Is it like
No, I don't want to do that though. That's my worry. That's why I don't want to say that, because like I don't want to be this clown, basically. So I'm fine with like a humorous light adventure, but also I'm okay too if we want to shift the tone towards something a little more serious.
it can be dark and humorous. Dark humor is something I think the Gauntlet does pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. It's something to be aware of, especially for me, because my default is usually like pretty oppressive and gritty and like
Bring it.
Yeah, for
Bring
me,
it.
like well, I don't have to do that though, that's what I'm saying. But it's something for me to be aware of, because usually that's the place that I tend to take it, just because Blades is basically about like an oppressive force on people in poverty, right? And like a cycle of that. It's like a little bit of a commentary on it, which is why it was so good for Cyberpunk. But I mean, you guys starting out all brash and hopeful with Grandpa's backing is perfectly fine. We'll see how it goes, especially since a lot of the time the roles are going to be deciding. You might be one of those crews that just gets tons of sixes and get all that bullshit going on. So we'll see. So yeah, what did you guys want to do for your first little bit? Do you want to start in the thick of it with like an act of God, or do you want to start like actually assembling your crew and doing the score to get the stuff, like the upgrades that you already have, stealing the convoy, that kind of thing? Because we could just make it a very like, we already know the end result of those things, but it might be fun to play out the heist of the convoy or whatever. Or if you just have a specific thing that you want to do based on the upgrades and the stuff that you want out of it, we can just tell me, and then we'll work it into the fiction, whatever you think you would like.
Both are good. It definitely feels a little bit more slapstick to know that we're gonna get away with the convoy, but be able to like fuck with the police.
That's true. Yeah.
Which it would be. I think it would be fun and interesting and funny. But also, I think it would be cool if we jumped right into like the first act of God.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and let's make it not like a tornado or a storm. Let's make it something else. Let's make it like a volcano or an earthquake in some weird way.
Oh yeah, I have just the thing.
I'm gonna
let me tell you, aren't I?
Session 1 TPK. Here we go.
No, it's really hard to kill Blades characters anyway. Not that I've tried or anything. I've heard this on the wind. Yeah. Okay, so let's say that well, first of all, let's say that like we get the montage, you know, oh yeah, do you guys have a name for your crew yet too? Or you just want to have something evolve over time? Just come out of the fiction. Because this would be the moment where they'd be like spray painting that on the convoy or whatever, right? If you had a name.
I don't know, Riptide?
Riptide.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
That sounds good. Because you're like surfing, right? Do you want to be the Riptide or whatever?
Lauren wrote
The
the
mystery machine.
You want to like make a dark version of Scooby-Doo? Is that where you're going?
Or halfway there.
You're like all these brash young idealists who are like, I get the vibe that you're all like people that should be going to university or something, but instead you're like rebelling, you hacked your deadites, you're off the grid, and you're like, we're gonna do this altruistic thing. And then you're gonna find out that Blades is harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with having a name come up.
Sure. So just figure it out. For now we'll just have like the montage of y'all coming together, and like the audience would see you guys stealing the convoy, the police getting pissed off, all these things that we've talked about. It'll be abstracted into a montage until the last thing that I think we see maybe is you maybe maybe they gave you the contact info, grandpa and grandpa or whatever, which, well, ordinarily I'd stop to name, but we only have 40 minutes left in the session, so I'll just have that ready next time. But the grandparents, whoever they may be, have given you the contact information for Alba. And I think on the way to meeting them, you guys haven't been, I think you've heard tale of this probably. What's your weird name? Atheb? Now I'm all like subconsciously I'm like, how was it not pronounced? It's TH, right? Atheb, not Ateb, or whatever it was, right? Atheb.
Right.
Yeah, so I think you've heard tell of this, probably because your parents have talked about where they came from before and stuff like that, and also around the institutional headquarters and stuff like that. People are continually being transient and circling back to this place and talking about it. And there's an area in the North Island that has like a lot of geysers and stuff like that has been acting up over the years, and it was a specific point of contention with the porters. Like maybe we get a flashback scene to you I don't know, maybe like taking whatever it was that you took from your household, and the porters were like off in a corner in like a steampunk bar-ish looking place or whatever, where they are drinking their thing and looking Irish. And they were talking about how they might for the first time not rotate out and stay in Shelter 1 to do something else, because the island is growing like really untenable, and the geysers out north, where normally it would be sort of like a radiant springs where people would go and enjoy themselves, has turned like into radiant springs where like you'll get burned if you go there. And they're worried about what this means for the small town that lives there and all that kind of stuff. And then we like flash forward to y'all driving right there. I'll let you decide if it was by design or not, but because you can do flashbacks in this game to make yourself competent anyway. So we don't have to clarify that now. But you're barreling towards this place, and we see the earth like splitting open, and the geysers start like whatchamacallit, like throwing up different basically it looks like magma being upchucked into geysers of wind that are forming sort of like mini daredevil, dust devil things, right? They've soaked up the fire. Lauren knows all about this. I like fire stuff. But yeah, so lavas and dust devils, yes, they're coming for you. Also, yes, it's a real thing. You can look it up. Anyway. So let me just get my magnitude. I'm going to use the magnitude chart to see what tier they are compared to y'all. There we go.
What tier the lava dust devils are?
Yeah.
Are they a gang?
Well, it's an obstacle that you need to overcome, right?
Mm.
And I use tier to determine the obstacle, either the
Mm-hmm.
overall obstacle or the number of obstacles that you need to overcome to abstractly take down the fire lava the lava dust devils, basically. And also it's a like we get a tracking shot of you guys driving through them, and it's these geysers are like all over the land, right? So they can't there's no like storm front or whatever above them, so basically they're lava dust devils on the spot, right? Like they're not trailing and moving towards you and stuff. The danger is that they're like exploding all around you, and one of them could be like where y'all are, that kind of thing. But clearly the event is below you. So let's see, duration, tier, quality, force. We'll start you guys off pretty easy, I think. Cool. So I don't know how to make clocks in Roll20, but I will just use it, a piece of paper here to do it, which will be more nefarious anyway. You can't see them, which is nice. But because you're competent blades people and you have specialized tech and you can have flashback, we can presuppose that you've already prepared for this, unless you like the fiction that like this is just happening on the way to the astronomer place and you're like, oh shit, what's going on? But I think it's a little bit cooler if you've prepared for it, you've got the tech for it, and we can do flashbacks to say how you've prepared for these specific things. So the convoy has as many vehicles as the gang, is how I have it now. So you have 3 or 4 vehicles and you have 3 or 4 people. So you'll have a couple of you will have like a crew member in your vehicles, and you can describe the convoy as you like in the shot. But all these things are erupting. What's the plan that you've selected? Are you... If you look at your sheets at the bottom, there's planning and load. And that's how we'll start framing up the scene. Are you assaulting it? I don't think you're... Well, maybe you're deceiving it. I don't know. Are you coming in stealthily, transport, social, or we can abstract it completely to you're attacking specifically the act of God with specialized tech? What is the most fun plan? That's what John Harper always says, is choose the funnest thing and then we'll work from there. The AOG one is basically just a catch-all for if you're running into an act of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're social, that means making contact with the act of God?
Yeah, I would be like using contacts to accomplish something else.
Oh, okay.
But the way I've framed it, just because I've hard framed it in, which is something I won't usually do. It's just to get the ball rolling on this specific one. It might not make sense to be doing that one in particular.
It seems like maybe stealth or just the AOG catch-all.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe if maybe it's flashbacks will get us that like entry point if we spent time to like prepare for it. But if we kind of ran in, then guess we'll just do our business.
Well, we can totally just say that the interesting thing for you is that you want it to be stealth, and we'll say like, you know, these things are ahead and you're trying to stealth into them, right?
Hmm.
Is stealth also the idea of scouting out a place ahead of time?
You could kind of do that with any of the plans, because
Okay.
you'd just be gathering information in free play beforehand.
Yeah, maybe I guess if this is like an underground volcano sort of thing, maybe our entry point is just like one area that we found is like safe, and that we can like act from there when we're like in the shit.
Oh, cool. So instead of like, well, it's up to you if you want to do that plan, but it could even be like on the movie version of this, all these geysers are blowing up and shit, and then you just like take a left or a right or whatever onto this basic like outcropping that circles down to below or something, because you've already figured out information about it, that kind of thing.
I like that. There's like a shot of us getting like launched from a geyser in our convoy, and we just land in a safer spot. Like, see, it's fine.
I thought, yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Well, what? Let's go with plan first. What's the most interesting plan that you guys want to do, and then we'll adapt the fiction to that.
That's a good point. So we're on our way to see the astronomer, and then we hear tell of some lava. Maybe I would assume we're just trying to do our thing and like capture it, put it in our
Just AOG
Pokeball.
it.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Sure. Is everybody down with that?
Yeah, I think this is a planned attack. I think we knew this was coming, and we prepped for it. So I think we've got like sonic tech or something like that will help us, manipulate this.
Sure. Do you want to do a flashback to gather information so you have a better engagement roll on it?
Definitely.
How would you do that? Let me
I think
know.
that is our astronomer. I think the astronomer was
okay.
like predicting with like solar storms and stuff like that. There's going to be a confluence and it's going to cause an extreme volcanic reaction here.
Like, sure. So it's going to be a fortune roll using one of your actions. So it sounds like maybe you're consorting with them, and then in the fiction we could have you like talking with them or something like that, like a satellite uplink that we can presuppose that you've set up or something like that. And they're the ones that are like, it's a confluence and all that kind of stuff, right? Unless you picture getting the information from them a different way. No?
No, that's fine. That's
okay.
Whatever.
Does anybody have really good consort, or we could do it as a group action or something? Everybody's like networking and trying to talk to this. No?
I'm sure. Yeah, I was gonna say surely our heir, who has a lot of connections, is good at consorting with people.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you roll consort and don't worry about your position.
Okay.
What we're looking for from the gather information roll is the amount of like good information that you get out of this.
Damn it, let me pick fortune roll.
Well, you'll be using the action though.
Yeah, one of the drop downs was fortune roll.
Okay, cool. Didn't know that.
Oh my god. Do I have any bonus die?
Yeah, so are you gonna push yourself, or do you want to accept what I am calling a ripple, but it is a devil's bargain?
What ripple you got?
What ripples up? Yeah. I think the ripple is that, let's see, what would be a good long-term thing to mess you up to get a good thing right now? How about one of the vehicles you ripped out of there so fast that it wasn't able to be properly fit, and it will need to be like fixed up later on? It was one of those things where like you guys were all at grandparents' house or whatever. They were retrofitting your cars. You were talking to your contact, and they were like, if you want to do this, you got to go right now. and they weren't able to like completely, I don't know, give a tune up to one of them or something like that, and it might cause you problems down the line. Say like, I don't know, when you're doing this thing right now and you run and you do like if you get a 4 out of 5, that might be a thing.
I mean, I think I have to say yes.
Okay. So instead of pushing yourself, you get the ripple die instead, and you're using a contact as well, right? So you get 2 dice, 2 bonus dice to this.
Oh, so
Because it's
it
a
should be
downtime
rolling
action.
4 die. It doesn't do anything. Oh wait, it's just slow. Okay.
Yeah, because it has a graphic.
Yeah, it does. What?
Oh, I can't even see it though. What does it say?
It's got 5, 3, 6, 1.
Oh, so you got a 6, right? So that's nice. Very nice. So yeah, you get very good information from it, which is, well, let's see, what would be really cool. Yeah, we'll say that. Let's go with the idea that the volcano, the actual eruption, is down a certain path that like he'll mark on your map or whatever, right? That it becomes sort of like one of those whatchamacallit, those parking things where you like go up to each different level of the park area, right? Except you're going down, and it's like a natural pathway that they've carved out there. And so that's like where you specifically need to attack the volcano with whatever you're going to be using. That's like the weak spot, because when you're above, it's just geysers of flame and lava and stuff, and like it's obviously more treacherous and not good for you.
So we have to go underground.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then having got that information, we can move to the engagement roll, which you will get better effect because you've done well on your gather information beforehand. And this is kind of like a loosey-goosey way of doing it, just because we're starting in media res and I'm trying to hit everything as we go, but it's mostly right. Because gather information is not technically a downtime action, which is the thing that you get a bonus for when you use your contacts, but I'm saying that too bad. It's house ruled. So what are we doing here? Engagement roll. Cool. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? You're driving into like a lava pit. So yes, I think it's pretty bold or daring. You also start with sheer luck, so you're at 2 dice now. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? I don't think so. It sounds like you're driving directly at its weak spot and then hitting it. So yeah, I mean, if you were halo jumping at it, maybe, right, Krista? Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? For the sake of this, we'll say yes, especially since the fictional positioning that you got from your gather information was you should go here and do this. So yes. Is it strongest against this approach? No, it is where it's weakest. Any of your friends or contacts provided aid? Yes, we saw that already. So that's 4 dice. And are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Not in the opening scenes of the movie. That would be unwise. And are there other factors? Yes, this is 2 tiers above you. So I'll take away a die. And so you're at 3. And if you go to the crew sheet, you can roll your engagement roll with 3 dice. And if you get a 1 to 3, you're in a desperate position. 4 to 5, you're in a risky position. And 6, you're in a controlled position. And I'm just going to reload roll 20 because it's still not doing what I want.
Wait, so who's rolling?
Anyone, whoever wants to do the roll.
What skills is it going to use, or?
It's just 3 dice. It's like a fortune roll
Okay.
with the die pool that we just built with the engagement roll.
3 dice. Just roll 3 dice. That's all there is to it.
It will roll the engagement roll on the crew sheet. Click engagement roll.
Okay, character mode, crew mode, roll engagement. 3 dice. Setting. Is everybody okay if I roll it? It's gonna go bad. Bum, ba, ba. Oh,
6.
1.6.
Of course, you guys are that kind of crew. Cool. So you,
We're ambitious.
yeah, you end up in a controlled position. So I think what it looks like is we cut back to the scene that I was describing with the geysers, and it's like, oh no, are they going to get hit? Are they going to blow up? Ah, what's going on? But I think all of you, we cut to like sort of a Fast and Furious moment, right? Where we cut to like in your vehicles and you're all like shifting and being really good at that stuff. Clearly, I'm very good at describing things. Shut up. Yeah, you're not granny shifting like your mother or whatever, right? You're properly shifting.
I'm sorry,
Whereas
Fast and
yells-
Furious in RVs is really hard to picture.
Oh, well, it
but
doesn't have-
very cool.
It doesn't have to be RVs either, though, right? But I could definitely picture some of them as like these giant military-esque, like things that have been overhauled. Yeah, and some hovercrafts and stuff like that. I imagine it's pretty eclectic, maybe. Yeah, like someone's in the GTA or something, or not GTA. The Nissan.
Wolfie's in back making out with another roadie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, nice. But the geysers are coming up and you're like drifting around them and stuff. And then we get to the like natural formation that leads to the volcano below. And you can say how you do it because you got a 6, right? It's a controlled position, but maybe you drift down this thing because that would be cool. And
Don't look so cross about it.
no, I really like drifting. That's all. That's all I know. And you come upon like this natural cavern with both of the kind of stalagmites, whatever they're called, stalagmites and stalactites, right? They're everywhere. All the stags are there. And you're driving, I think, across this like lava bridge, and so you're in a controlled position. So I think you get across the bridge and it comes to like a point where you're at an advantageous position for hitting this thing with whatever your specialized tech is. Like maybe you're on a cliff face or something like above it, so that if it was to, careen against the wall and stuff like that, it's unlikely to hit you, and you're just in a good position to hit it. Or if you have other fiction of what your specialized tech might be or how you might be situated, I'm open to hearing that as well. But combating a volcano, I would think leverage would be good.
I would think we'd have to position the vehicles around whatever the weak point is, and that we're using some sort of sonic tech to manipulate this.
Sure.
Like getting a resonance going to like sort of counter it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys are around this weak point, separated, splitting the party, always wise. But it's in a controlled position, so obviously it's already worked, right? And we're just waiting to see how well this tech that you've developed actually works, / probably stolen, not developed, right? From that carrion, I think it is that you stole it from, right?
Mhm.
Along with these vehicles and stuff. So everyone's like, wow, these are really nice. as you're driving the stolen futuristic vehicles.
Yeah, we spray painted over the carrion logo.
Yeah, exactly.
I think maybe I think there's a flashback for I forgot my own character's name. Atheb. Yeah, Atheb. I think there's a flashback for Atheb working with Grandpa, and they're like installing this tech onto the RVs, and like they don't even know how it works, so they're like, it's like you all have to turn it on at the same time. Maybe that's all we know. We're like positioned around it, so we have to like synchronize it and figure it out.
Sounds good. Okay, so I think you're in a controlled position and you're probably someone's probably leading a group action because you're all doing the same thing to this volcano. Does that make sense? who is leading the group action. It doesn't necessarily mean who would ever be good at this thing, because everyone is going to roll the same action. It's just the person who is leading it takes stress for anyone who fails the action. And what kind of... This sounds kind of like you're wrecking it or modifying it.
Mm-hmm.
Or control. I could see controlling it maybe with
Well,
technology.
we're trying to siphon the energy from it, aren't we? Is that sort of because
Maybe
what
control.
you didn't pick up, Fraser, is we're actually trying to become counterfeit jewelers.
Oh, okay.
Because if we can, if we can suck off the energy, we can make jewels theoretically, right?
Right. So you're trying to extract data and also like imprison this thing or whatever, right?
Mhm.
In some sort of device. So the idea is to like cut swaths of it off so that it goes into this device or something, or what?
We're going to channel it into a magnetic containment field.
Oh, cool. Okay, so it'll end up being like this futuristic sphere with the lava inside of it or something. That sounds
Definitely.
cool. I'm into this. I don't think it's stupid, Christo.
Finally!
Let him have his lava ball.
Yeah. Well, although Alex ruined it, it says cyber tuning fork, so now it's over again. No, just kidding. So who's leading the action, and what they would determine what the role everybody is doing will be.
I'd be happy to lead it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And what do you think you are? Are you controlling it, wrecking it? Is this a finesse thing?
I think we are
Modify?
controlling it.
Yeah.
Is that just like controlling something?
Yeah, control can be manipulating a person or manipulating technology to control something.
Okay, yeah. I think we're controlling it.
Cool.
I have nothing in control.
You could be hacking it. You could be
Oh,
wrecking
yeah, I
it.
do.
You could be
I have
modifying it.
I have one.
Okay, so you're gonna do control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we assist before or after? I forget.
Everyone rolls that same action together, and you take the highest die.
Yeah, if you guys fail it, then I take stress.
Yeah,
Right.
but you get the
I
highest
like
result.
this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, the teamwork I think works well.
Wait, so since I'm rolling my own control, aren't I? Everybody's
Yes.
rolling their own control.
And everyone can push themselves, so take 2 stress to get an additional die. Or we could do a devil's bargain for someone who's, or not a ripple. A ripple for whoever's leading the action, possibly. But yeah, I've got a ripple. The doing this to the volcano is unnatural, and I think it's going to like have some severe repercussions for the island going forward. That's my ripple. If you wanted a dice for it.
I absolutely want a dice
I
for
was
it.
going to say, Fraser, are we supposed to care about the ripple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Your grandparents live there, right?
It's usually
His
bad.
grandparents live there.
Yeah, well, that's why the ripple's for him.
Yeah, it's usually bad. Like
For the
I'm
future, yeah.
into it. I want the drama.
So, and how do we roll in roll 20 on this? We select the.
So you'll
select-
hit command, or you'll hit
it's
command
here.
because it's
Yeah.
control. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you'll input any bonus dice. The position is controlled. We've already established that with the engagement roll.
Okay.
And we'll say that you guys have upgraded specialized tech, do you not?
Mhm.
Okay, so you have standard effect instead of limited.
Oh, okay.
And so the way it works with pushing yourselves, just so you know, is you can push yourself for a die, or you can push yourself for effect. So you could push the standard effect to great effect, meaning it works even better, or you could give yourself better odds of succeeding.
Oh, I'm pushing for the greater effect.
Okay.
So do I change the input value to do that, or what?
Yeah,
How do
it
I-
should ask you your position and your effect.
So
And
so I upgrade my effect to great.
Yes,
in
and
the
then
input value. Okay.
and then no extra die because you're using that already.
And it's controlled position, right?
Yeah.
And it'll automatically count how many circles I had, right?
Yeah. But also, let's see. Oh, okay, cool. So, a 1. Nice.
God.
Lord, got a 4, 5. No 6 yet.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Cool. So you take 2
Alfred,
stress.
what are you doing?
I have no
Pointing it the wrong way.
Yeah. So normally, also, I did that a little bit wrong. It should have been the person who was leading the group action will choose the effect, and everybody else is just rolling. But we'll just say that it's great anyway, because you failed anyway, so it's good. Or you didn't fail; you succeeded with consequences. I'm sorry. So you do the thing, and I think the ripple takes a little less time than we all thought, right? So you're doing this thing, you're all very satisfied with what you're doing to this natural event. You have it in like this cool sphere, right? And I guess you've probably like maneuvered it like with some kind of magnetic crane to put it on your vehicles, right? You've extracted the stuff that you wanted, and that's when the ground starts to shake and rumble. And then, okay, so what tone are we going for again?
Okay, what is the chat? What's in the chat does not dictate the tone.
Yeah. Yeah, so do you guys want it to be like pretty gritty, as in like you need to resist it or you might die with certain things, or
Yeah, we can make it gritty.
okay, cool.
It
so
I like
Hard to go
consequences.
Let's
I like
burn away our naive
consequences
today.
from actions.
yeah. So I think, let's see, who, Atheb and Lauren. Yeah, Wolfie, what is the vehicle that you're in right now?
I don't know. I picture her with like a motorbike.
Motorbike? Okay.
Yeah.
So your motorcycle, the futuristic one that looks very cool, I'm sure, was the one that didn't get the full tune-up. So you start like blasting, like wailing on it, and you get some kickback, and it like just needs a little bit more time to like, we get the shot of you like trying to kickstart it again because the engine has stalled out on you. And right behind you, the bridge is like dissolving as the lava starts flooding over it and the earth starts shaking. And you'll have to get off your bike or it will kill you and melt you. Also, let me tell you about another mechanic in this game. It's called resistance.
I would like to do that, please.
So the action that you'd be resisting with, I think, how do you think you'd resist it? Do you think you'd quickly modify it or something on the fly to do this thing? Do you think you'd hack it? I think the thing is going to be to get this thing working again, right? So it'll either be resolve or insight. I could see either.
Yeah, I think. Hang on, let me see the pull up.
Well, if you're trying to fix it, I guess it would be hack or modify.
Well, it could also be control, yeah. So you resist with the parent stat of everything. So it'd be insight, prowess, or resolve.
Oh yeah, I think. Oh yeah,
So
and
in
then
which
you
case, insight or
resist.
resolve, I think.
Oh, geez.
You resist. You resist by hitting the parent button, resolve, prowess, or insight. You click on it.
Cool.
And it should do it for you.
I think I'm trying to like quickly modify my bike to make sure the fucking thing works, because this thing's a piece of shit, but god damn it, I love it, and I'm not gonna see this thing get wrecked.
Yeah, and so for people who aren't aware of blades, when you resist something, it definitely doesn't happen. No matter what you roll, we're only rolling to see how much stress that you take when you do this thing. So roll your stress. So you'll hit. Are you doing resolve? Is that what you're doing?
Insight.
Insight. Okay, to modify it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so hit insight and then just click through. You can push yourself as well if you want, but you'll be taking stress equal to the highest, or 6 minus the highest die.
Why not?
So 2 stress to push yourself.
Cool. 2 stress, and then what do I do next? Do I roll first?
Go through. Yeah, roll.
Okay, cool.
It'll ask you for a bonus die. Yeah. So 4. So you take 2 stress, and then tell me what happens. How do you get it going and not die?
Oh man. Well, she has to, I reckon she has to like pull open a panel on her super cool cyber motorbike thing, and then you sort of like see her frantically like messing with wires and stuff, and like hooking the red one up to the blue one, swearing a lot because I feel like got a bunch of my characters she curses plentiful, and then she looks over her shoulder frequently as like the firestorm and stuff is like encroaching on her further, and then her swearing like increases. Like there's a direct correlation between the proximity of this thing to her and the amount of cursing she's doing. And then she like slams the panel back on and then kicks the bike into whatever and takes off, I think, sweating profusely.
Very nice. Okay. Also, oh shoot, I didn't get you guys to do this before, but when we chose the plan, I should have asked you what your load was. And then what happens, Christo, is you choose if your load is light, normal, or heavy. The difference being light means that you just look like a normal person with this load of items. Normal is like you're a little bit stacked, like people can tell that you're packing, that kind of thing. And heavy is like you're in stormtrooper wear, basically. Like people know that you're going to a job. You've got some heavy armor on, that kind of stuff. And so all of your items exist in a state of potential, and you mark them down as you use them. So all of you would have had to use 1 tick on your specialized tech because everybody was using their tech to do that thing. But anyway, since the time was short, I abstracted it, so it was much easier for you guys. And you cut it, you got the thing, you're out of there. We get probably an ominous shot of like this bubbling lava pit, right?
Wait, did we reduce its level? Did we reduce its tier?
Yeah. So I abstracted your roles to do everything, right? Normally you'd have to be contending with like probably some other obstacles and then reduce the tier to 0 and then take stress to do your thing. But since we were short on time, I was just like, let's just see what your group action does. And you did all of that.
I was looking to ride the lava wave, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. Okay.
No, that's okay. We can leave it for next time.
Ride the lava wave. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think you guys rip out of there. You barely see Wolfie like get it going, right? Like the tires spin and go just as the last little bit of lava like soaks over that part. And there's like an ominous look back at the camera of the lava pit like bubbling, because we know from the ripple effect that shit's gonna happen later with this island, basically. And we'll just cut it there, I think, because we only have 7 minutes left. So we can do XP and all that kind of stuff at least, because that's usually pretty quick. Are people good with that? Yeah. Just like the other group I made, also their tornado wrangling quite easy in the first session. So that's good. And plus it's like it makes sense because it's the opening scene for the movie, right? Like seeing these characters do really cool things and kind of like what the setting's about and all this kind of stuff, and determine the tone. So let's start from left to right. So filter, let's start with you. What playbook are you? Torque. So your XP things, did you address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem?
I mean, the opening scene was like the definition of mayhem, so...
Yeah, and technical skill, I think we could have taken that from also, like, cutting swaths of volcanic shit into a sphere. So take 2 for that. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
don't think I said anything, so.
Yeah, but we saw your drive on camera, so just take 1 for that. And then I don't think you struggled with issues of your vice root trauma during the scene.
Really? Why is that?
Hey, we had half an hour. Okay, I was just trying to make something cogent. Okay.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay, Christo, did Jet do things like address a challenge with knowledge or technology?
I guess we all did, didn't we? Because we did like teamwork with the technology.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 for that. Did you express a belief, drive, heritage, or background? I think everybody expressed at least 1 in their drive because we saw them. This is the first time from a viewer perspective that we're like, oh, they're storm chasers, right? So
Yeah.
I think 1 for that. And then if you have any other ideas, then let me know.
Yeah, no vice root or traumas. Yeah, no, I think that's it. So that's 3.
Yeah. And so what you do is you can mark XP in any of the tracks: insight, prowess, resolve, or your playbook. And when you fill up the little ticks, then you can take the thing in it. So if you fill up your insight, you can take an additional dot in the things below it. Or you can fill up your playbook and take a move from or a special ability, from the playbook.
I forgot how that works. Okay.
And Atheb, let's see what you're up to. You are...
I think
Did you address the challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
I don't think so. I didn't conspire against the lava.
The calculation, you're the one that gathered all the information in order to make the attack happen, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, especially with the flashback, right? When you were talking to this person.
Well, I won't say no to an XP.
I think everybody gets 2 for the first one because everybody was doing their things. You expressed your belief, drive, heritage, or background. I think we saw some of that, but I'd be open to see if you agree. I think we saw everybody's drive, but you also did some background stuff, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't. Yeah, I guess for a short scene, yeah.
I mean, your parents were all over this.
And the grandparents, right? It's the entire session, so even in world building, right, it was all about you. So
just make me forget about it. That's fine.
Yeah, and then did you struggle with issues from your vice, root, or trauma?
I mean, I definitely don't think so on that one.
So take 4 XP.
Oh my gosh.
And Wolfie. Let's see. Wolfie is the lens. Did you address the challenge with tracking or violence?
If we can count, I don't know, following this lava thing, then yes.
Take 2 for that. Do you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background? I think drive, everybody's... I'm going to give 1 at least because, like I said, it's the first time anyone saw on camera what you do. So next session, the stakes are higher for sure, but yeah. Do you think anything else? Drives, heritage, background?
Not yet. I don't think so.
No?
Apart from having a motorbike and caring a lot about it. It was about the only thing that I did, character-wise.
Okay. So take 3 XP.
Cool.
And then we'll do your crew XP. So, did you... Oh, no, you're not. I was like, that's kind of weird because I was on the wired one. I scrolled too far. And I'm like, did you get product or supply? Okay, so clippers, no shifters. Did you advance toward an active god despite danger or body a feature of one? I think so. Yes. Yeah. I think you did that really good. 2, you advanced towards the danger for sure. Contend with challenges above your station. Yes. It was 2 tiers above you, actually. So that's another 2 XP. Bolster your crew's reputation. What was your... ambitious? So yes, I think so. Do you think that was worth 1 or 2, everybody?
I think it was 1. It didn't take much action to really get through, did it?
Yeah, well, that's because I was being nice. Yeah, so we'll give 1. Express your goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Like all of that, basically. Yeah. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7, I think. And you guys can put that wherever you like. Oh no, sorry. Crew XP just goes in crew XP. And we can do downtime, which will do heat and rep from this, and then downtime turns next time.
I think we just ended up with the coolest disco ball you could ever have.
Yeah. So is it see-through, this thing?
Well, I think it's got swirls to it, right? It's plasma. It's like all this plasma energy condensed into a magnetic sphere.
Mm-hmm. It does sound cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, do you guys
Finally, something sounds cool.
do you want to do a quick roses and thorns? Does people have time?
I have time.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, Thorn, like not being able to say anything or do a roll ever.
So
Any
Alex gets the
thorns?
next spotlight, right?
Yeah, Alex, any thorns?
No, none that I can think of. I mean, like, there's the time issue, but it's kind of unavoidable in a station 1 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't any Heelys, which is a very good point.
Yeah.
I'll definitely fix that next time, don't worry.
There weren't any whats?
Yeah,
Heelys.
In the Veil, Alex had a character that basically was Jet Set Radio, where she ground on wires to get places, basically.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yes. Christo, Thorn?
Didn't get it right, my lava, but that's okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's my bad.
No, it's okay. It's session 0. You don't have time for much.
Yeah, I just wanted to see something cool. Darren? Thorn?
Yeah, just the session time. I barely had a grasp on what was going on.
Yeah.
That's all, though.
Okay, well, from now on, we'll just play 4 hours. It's fine.
I guess.
Yeah. What, Krista?
I was just going to ask. I probably forgot to pick up the quick start. Or are there like draft rules I should have been looking at?
For this?
Yeah.
Just the one thing that I sent out. I'm still working on the quick start. It'll be out of hopefully a week or 2. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's my thorn.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thanks. Trust me, I get enough of that from the Kickstarter people.
I'm teasing you.
Before it was even out, they were like, "Where's the quick start?" I'm like, "I am writing the game currently, and also I am still reading the source material to see about factions and such." But Lord Thorns,
I'm gonna cheat into like wishes instead because I don't have any thorns. I think it was like a fun setup.
Oh, yeah.
I really love our crew and people, and I think we're really like well prepped to have a super fun kind of like gritty but whimsical adventure. And I think that's gonna be the super gritty whimsy. And yeah, so I think I would love to see Christo be able to write some things. I really want to see what Christo is gonna do with his cyber hair. I think that's gonna look super cool in the fiction. I'm looking forward to us like obsessively stalking down weather and things like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing potentially like the conflict between our Atheb's parents and grandparents. Like I think that'll be fun in terms of crew drama, and I can't wait to see how that goes. Especially because like I feel like I am also kind of like a disowned heir as well, so I feel like that's gonna be kind of interesting to see our character dynamics in that capacity. And I want to see Alex. So yeah.
I was gonna say you're just you're an heir from which faction?
A forged, just like an outsider forged quirk community that I don't care
That's
about
right.
anymore.
Right. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll make you care.
I'm sure you will. And I want to see Alex's cyber fingers. I want to see what she can do with her cyber fingers.
Yeah, they're called jazz hands. No, just kidding.
Those like the things that I would like to sort of like see in the future.
Sure. What is it?
episodes.
Wishes and what again?
Stars and wishes.
Stars and okay, so I didn't even get it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, for me I think it's just time and trying to work out how to start this game well when I know that it's going to be recorded is a little bit of a challenge because when to give you the information as well as to start recording so people aren't watching and being like fuck. Yeah, but I guess people will just have to suffer through that. But yeah. Stars, Lauren?
Alex conceptualizing the word grimsicle. I'm gonna use that from now on. Oh my gosh, no, that was whatchamacallit, the score was super fun. I liked all the visuals we had for chasing down lava and stuff, and you guys all made such cool characters that I can't wait to interact with all of your amazing like characters pretty much. And yeah, I think given we had half an hour, I praised you and a really good score.
Yeah, well, it definitely worked to your benefit because it was like 2 tiers above you and you're like 1 roll, that's fine. So yeah, but I think it made for a really cool like, opening scene episode TV show movie thing happening. So yeah.
And now we just have to face all the consequences from this, right?
Yeah, I like that my ripples were gonna fuck you up, so it's good. Darren?
So the idea of the ripples as compared to Devil's Bargain is like what we're doing is having a ripple effect somewhere else.
Yeah, and it also hits on that scarcity, and this is all water, so it like recontextualizes it a little bit, hopefully. But yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Is it always all water?
What?
Is it always a scarcity of water?
Well,
in the setting, I mean, in the setting, is the resource scarcity always water?
Not always, no. There's other places that have access to water, but primarily in Shelter 1, there's sort of like a mythology around water because certain districts get more of it than others. And with the advent of information controlling all information, it makes for uneducated and like mythological status of things that people don't understand. And so, yeah, they think of water in that way. And I thought it was a neat way to tie in the setting because usually, Devil's Bargain is cool and everybody knows it, but I look forward to changing a whole bunch of things that we're aware of into different setting things. Like Jewels sounds initially a little weird, but for the setting, I think it makes a lot of sense because people are literally charging these objects with labor and power and stuff. So I like the idea of taking all these things that we know now to adapt them to the setting and change it and twist it a little bit. Darren, stars or roses, whatever you want.
I was gonna say the same thing as roses with thorns because I missed our transition.
Yeah.
Stars. What was good? I don't know if anything was good.
Oh, nice.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Says the person that got all of the fiction centered on them.
Which I didn't mean to. I agree. I think everyone has super interesting characters, and I'm definitely more excited to have a bit more time so we can have some interaction. I thought the lava dust devils were very cool, and like climate catastrophes I just have no handle on, so that was very thrilling to me, that the idea of driving into a volcano. I liked it. Good.
Yeah, I'm into it too. It's something that you don't really get to see in fiction much. So I look forward to. I as I'm reading all the books, I'm writing down all this stuff because I'm gonna make some usable charts for it, so people can just be like, "Oh, sweet, tornado that has electrical storms, and it's like tier 3, and bam," and they just can make it instead of just me off the cuff from having to read all these stories where I'm like, "Let me tell you some shit."
Are you gonna put a Sharknado in?
I'm not gonna put a Sharknado in. No.
That's the only one I know about.
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay. Christo, whatever you want to do, roses or stars.
I really want to see the cyber fingers from the mummy.
From the mummy. Nice. I wonder what her nickname will be.
Yeah, there's no escape. We could call it Raps. That's
nice. My name is Filter. Thank you.
I'm changing it right now. That's way cooler. Why didn't I think of that?
And whatever you want to do too, Alex. The wishes or thorns or roses, I mean.
Let's go for wishes. Wait, no, not that. Roses, stars.
Roses.
Go for stars.
Okay.
Sounds cool. Yeah, it was super cool. It was nice having this like super action-packed, like not too serious opening so that we can crush all these hopes and dreams later. But it was like such an awesome like first heist. Like driving into a volcano.
Yeah. I think like the tone I'll probably go with is something like Indiana Jones-ish, right? Where it's like adventurous, some bad stuff still happens, but resistance rolls gets you out of it, and it's like a little bit funny, but it's serious when it needs to be. That seems to be where we're landing.
Right. Nice. And also I really liked the ripples. Because there's some pretty compelling choices in there that were just like, yeah, sure, let's ruin everyone's lives.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised with that actually when Darren was like, yes.
I don't think I've played enough games to really have a handle on like devil's bargains because they all seem great to me. I'm like, yeah, that'll be bad, but like that's drama. That'll be interesting.
So we're gonna get back and your parents are gonna be dead.
Well, I don't. Yeah, the grandparents. I'll be really sad. That'll impact me enough where I'll be like, I'm not taking any ripple ever again.
Nice. Yeah, but yeah, I hope I showcase ripples a little bit in that, like, when the 4 or 5 happened, I took one of the ripples and accelerated a little bit to put one of you in trouble, and then you had to escape that. But so ripples, the thing is like, no matter what I say, if you accept it, it comes to pass whether you succeed or not, right? So that's why the bargain thing comes into play. But yeah, so far everyone's like, yes. Which is, I mean, that's fair. Even when I watch the actual plays with Sean Ender, I don't think he like ever turns down devil's bargains. So whatever. It's the done thing. So I'm gonna stop the broadcast.